to know the source you're getting it from. So if you can know the farmer, know the farmer. If you don't, trust the source that is getting it from the farmer. And I do. This is Fossil Farms in Boonton, New Jersey. You can order it online. If it's not listed on there online, you can call them and you can get this stuff, and it is well worth it. These are beauties. So let's see. Just like, so this is basically the pork version of the ribeye that we just did a video on. So just like that, you've got the one end here, but you can see all this layer of fat in here. That is, and I don't think I've ever seen a commodity cut of pork like this. But you can see the beautiful marbling in there. It's got the spinalis on there. It is beautiful. Then you've got this side with that defined eye. Beautiful, beautiful chop. It's amazing. And when you cook this fat, it's to me, it's even better than lamb fat. So lamb's got that flavor, that texture of the fat. This is beautiful, beautiful stuff. So we are going to truss these up. And what I'm going to do is, you'll notice on both of these, there are bare spots. I call them butcher mishaps, you know, maybe when it was processed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover them up. So I've got here some lard, rendered pork fat. Buy it at my Hispanic market. It's beautiful stuff. It's pure. And I want to say, we never want to, whether it's beef or pork, we never want to cover the entire roast in a fat. I mean, I've seen people do it, like cover the sides, cover the whole thing to minimize the pellicle. You don't want to do that. We need air to get to this piece of meat. So I am just going to take a little bit of the lard. And lard is nice because it's soft right out of the refrigerator. And I just want to cover this part up. That's all, nice thin layer, just to protect that meat. So the layer of the lard will dry instead of that meat, that exposed meat.
Let me zoom in.
All I'm doing, just like that. Just want to cover that up. There's a little spot over here I might as well do too.
Other than lard, can you use other things?
Yeah, you could certainly use other things. I figured I'd keep it true to the animal. Use duck fat, but I really, I don't like introducing, because each animal has its own kind of natural bacterias and stuff like that. So if you can use lard, I would use lard for sure. All right, so there's that. Wipe my hands off. I'm going to do this one, and you can see this pork fat, even the lard, it's just melting at the temperature of my body, Beautiful.
And for anybody just joining late?
Yeah, we are doing, we're going to dry age this beautiful heritage Berkshire pork, 10 bone racks in my Steakager Pro 40. We've done it before. We're going 45 days because it was phenomenal. And yeah, again, if you go back to the beginning of this video, we talked about how it must be heritage breed because the commodity pork has very little fat in it. It's been bred to be lean. This has beautiful fat in it. So what I'm going to do is, to spare you sheer boredom, I'm going to only truss one of them up, and then I'll come back and I'll truss the other one up off camera. You'll get the idea. Okay, again, I'm using that 24 gauge butcher's twine. It's super simple. Put this in my drawer. See how we can do this. I'm going to pull some out. And trussing takes practice. You can certainly cut lengths of string and lay them out on your board. Put the roast on it and then tie each individual one. That's perfectly fine. And why are we tying it? We are tying it so it retains a nice shape. It doesn't flatten as it dry ages. All right, we're gonna go right here. And take your time. There's absolutely no rush. I'm gonna tie this off. When I do tie roasts, I do 3. And this fat is soft, so I don't want to over tighten for sure. And you can see, because I did 3 wraps, it holds. And then tighten. Now, here comes the fun part. I moved it, going around. If I made a loop, I'm sliding it under, down.
And zoom in again.
Okay. And we're going to use the ratchet method to tighten it down. And again, this is, you know, we're in our homes. This doesn't have to look super pretty, but it's always fun to make it look good. So I'm pulling it tight, and then I'm ratcheting it up right to the middle. I'm keeping this little tail here too. Just like that. All right. Again, a loop. Slide it around or over. Some of that, the lard came off, not a big deal. And I'm tightening it up. Ratchet up. Loop.
Can I ask a question about
Yes, you
beef
can.
while you're doing that?
Sure.
All right. So from Alexander Zervinci, sorry Alexander, can't get your last name. If you wanted to make dry aged beef Wellington,
Yes.
would you recommend covering half one side in tallow to minimize pellicle loss?
No.
Yeah, we've never done that.
I've never done it, but you don't want to inhibit the dry aging process by covering it in tallow.
So, but when
Definitely not.
when you get your tenderloins, you've got some fat covering on the ones you get.
Yes.
So what if it's totally...
Right. If you can get the tenderloin with fat on it, that's what I would do. But I wouldn't cover it with tallow. You know what? Especially something like beef Wellington, think about the end product that you're looking to do. It's okay to have a beef Wellington. When I did beef Wellington, you know, it was this big. It was about that round. And that is actually perfect for beef Wellington. It's a very rich dish. You typically don't need a giant, like, you know how big tenderloins are. You really don't need to do one that big. It's easier to handle. I actually cut the sides so they were flat, you know, and you don't really need one that big. If you're feeding more people, I would say do 2 tenderloins. And don't worry, I actually trimmed mine down, I think, before I dry aged it. And that worked out really well. So I didn't dry age the whole tenderloin. I trimmed it down with the final product in mind, what I want to do with it. And it worked out well. And I would do that again, for sure. So we're just going to keep going, loops, loop-de-loops. Stuck on here, on a bone. Yeah, it doesn't even have to be perfectly straight. We are not putting this in a display case at a butcher shop. Right?
So can you walk again through the loop and going around?
Yep, just takes practice.
Yeah, I'm going to come down like this.
I'm going to do the last one, so I'm pulling it. Trying to be careful of this fat. I don't really want to dig in. So I'm pulling it straight and then just pulling it up, and that makes it tight. So the loop, I am grabbing like this.
Hold Hold on. There we go.
So I'm going underneath. I'm creating the loop like that. And then sliding it over. Even more. There we go. Just like that. And what's happening is you're putting that loop over the string so that when you tighten it down and ratchet it up, that's where you get your tight.
Nice.
Right there. I'm going to do probably one more towards the end here.
And
so.
Robert Gassman, he said hello.
Hello, Robert.
And he said hello from, actually, afternoon chef from sunny Arizona. He also asked, how many days are you going to age this for?
This is going to be 45 days. The last time we did it, we did one for 35 days, and we did one for 45 days, and we preferred the 45 day much more than the 35 day. So what am I going to do now? So now I want to do my vertical. I'm going to do 2 of them because that's what I'm going to use to hang it. Vertical. You can do 3 if you want. Like so. So I'm going to go back around and meet up with our little pigtail right here. Go with that tie.
I always like when Colin joins. He always shares.
Yes, thank you, Colin.
Thank you, Colin.
Colin does a great thing. He shares this video with his friends. It's a fantastic thing. We love that about Colin. All right, so I got a little loop on here just in case I need to use it, but typically what I'll do is I will take the hook in the Steakager and I will go kind of underneath, maybe gather these 3 up. So 3 strands are holding the weight, not just 1. That's basically why. In fact, I'll go get the hook. It's right here. I'll show you what I mean. All right. So I've got my hook. So what I'll do is, I'll show you on this end. I'll take the hook.
I'm going to come in close for you.
All right, see if we can get that. I'll take the hook. I have to move it. I'll try and grab all 3 of these. And there you go. That's how it'll hang in the Steakager, just like that. So again, trussing is not rocket science. You get better at it with practice. I'm going to put a little bit more of a smear over here, some spots that I missed or that got rubbed off while we were trussing.
And again, what are you putting on there? Just
I am putting on pure lard. It is rendered pork fat. It's beautiful. It's white. You can see it's almost the same color as the fat that's on this roast. And I'm just covering up a spot that I think the butcher may have slipped. And the meat was exposed. And that's it, guys. That's how you're doing a trussing of a 10-bone pork rack or a ribeye. Same way. And again, that ratchet action tying method, it takes a little bit of practice, but once you get it, you can really do it at speed and get this done in minutes. So that's it. Of course, always look in 45 days when we pull these out, and you'll see how absolutely beautiful these are. So thanks a lot for joining us today. For this video and the previous video we did on the ribeye that we took out of the Steakager. And more information on Steakager, www.thesteakager.com. More information on me, join my Facebook group, The Grateful Chef with Eric Eisenbud. We have a great website, eatingwithcheferic.com. And thanks go out to Lynn, running the camera and making sure everything goes well. And we will see you guys on the next